As I've been going through these system chronologies, I've come to think of certain genres as obligatory games. Games that you need in order to round out a system's library, but hold little interest to anyone after that system is done. The sports titles, mahjong, things like that, where somebody makes a new version pretty regularly. And because the format for these games is so standardized, there's no reason to go back to the technically inferior version. Trivia games are one of those obligatory games. And part of that has to do with the nature of trivia games in general. The questions that they ask are very of their moment. For example, if I asked, a popular commercial had a woman asking fast food restaurants where this was, a good portion of my audience would go, huh? But any American in 1991 would find that to be a very simple question, even though the ad stopped in the mid-80s. So here's Quiz Avenue, the PC Engine's first trivia game. And it's on CD, so they could pack even more questions in. There is a story about two warring quiz kingdoms and a kidnapped quiz princess who has to be rescued. But really, you're here to answer questions. There are stage maps that are very similar to Namco's Dragon Buster. You walk between the nodes and every one will be a quiz battle against some enemy. Many of them have a style of question that they prefer. Like, this guy only asked Ultraman questions, which I couldn't answer because I am still not finished with Ultra Q. And this one, for some reason, often asks questions about the myth of Perseus. For every battle, you have to get a certain number of questions correct, which are the dots in the upper left-hand corner, and the hands below the enemy portrait represent how many questions you can get wrong. The dots to the side of the enemy portrait are the timer. If you get a game over, then you have to go back to the start of that map. And obviously, I made absolutely no progress in Quiz Avenue. Sorry, I don't know the names of finishing moves for Japanese wrestlers, or which prefecture first used pasteurized milk. And I especially don't know which mid-tier Japanese celebrities appeared in which commercials in 1990. None of those are flaws with Quiz Avenue, of course. This is a trivia game made for a Japanese audience in 1991. It's just a good example of how trivia is culturally focused, and that changes both with time and place. Besides the story mode, which I've been showing off, there is a party mode that allows 5 people to compete. It uses the same pool of 4,000 questions that the story mode uses. Quiz Avenue seems to have been a pretty big success for NEC, since they'd go on to release 2 more games in the series. Those sequels would not be made by developer ISC. This was ISC's first game, and they're best known for, well, I guess Seed of Valis is the only game they had that was released outside of Japan. And even in Japan, Quiz Avenue is probably their best known title. They weren't very much of a developer. When it comes to the opinions of Japanese players, I struggle to find anybody with anything to say here. That's just the nature of things, I'm afraid. People don't care to revisit old trivia games. And as much as I think Quiz Avenue is virtually unplayable in 2026, it's not because it's a bad trivia game. In fact, I think it does a fine job. Not outstanding, just good enough. It's just trivia games have a shelf life, and we are well past that point for Quiz Avenue.